Okay, hope you found that video useful and helpful in understanding how citizen journalism works. So let's take a look at challenges facing newspapers today. Now, when we talk about readership decline, we need to ask the question, is it really declining? Okay. From 1931 to 1939, we could see that there were 600 newspapers that ceased operation. And throughout the first decade of the 21st century, newspaper circulation in the US had dropped by 25%. But globally, World Association of Newspapers noted that between 2008 to 2013, newspaper circulations, even though it has dropped in the States by 13%, in Asia, it has actually increased by 9.8, so that's nearly 10%. So what does this mean? Okay. It means that while in developing countries, the newspaper and the physical newspaper may seem to be going out of fashion, news still plays an important role in developing nations where consumers rely on newspapers to get facts and information. So in 2013, WAN reported that globally 2.5 billion people read newspapers in print and 800 million actually, read them in digital forms. So news is still relevant actually. Okay, it may look like the print version is going on decline, but it's just simply a metamorphosis or a switch to a different platform. In the meantime, what's happening is that small papers and campus newsletters are coming on the rise. So when we talk about small papers, we're looking at papers set up by ethnic groups, set up by ethnic communities, where they tend to do way better because, number one, where they exist, they usually cater to small towns and cities, which don't have access to a lot of media to compete with. So a good example of this would be to go to Sarawak and Sabah. You'll find that there are a lot of small newspapers on top of mainstream papers like the Star and ST. So those papers do well because they have a loyal and steady base of readers who are very supportive and feel that once they start looking at these newspapers and getting their information from these newspapers, they won't get it anywhere else. And these newspapers tend to be consensus driven, meaning they look at how to fulfill a community's needs rather than looking at political standpoints, economic standpoints, and they don't have to worry about advertising revenue dropping because they're not exactly profit oriented, and they also have a loyal and steady base of readers. Okay? Now I'm going to show you a video of an ethnic based newspaper in Australia. Now, Australia, if you're familiar with the community makeup, there are a lot of Vietnamese migrants as well as migrants from Greece. And over time, we find that although mainstream English newspapers are going on decline, Vietnamese based and Greek based newspapers are actually coming up in terms of readership. And the video will explain a little bit about how this is going on and what's happening.